Yo, what's up? Salute to you. Appreciate y'all tuning in. First of all, I want to say I appreciate all the veterans that serve for the country and all the veterans that tune in um, to this channel. And also, I want to give a shout out to Germany, and I also want to give a shout out to Japan. Okay, Japan, they got hit with two atomic bombs, so you know they recovered, but that was very devastating for Japan. So today we're gonna get into a little bit about what happened between USA and Japan, and what get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, so around 1938, Hitler invaded Austria. Okay, and around 1939 he invaded Poland. So Japan probably seeing this, probably was like, okay, he's attacking, so this might be our chance to get into the action with Hitler and get some land back. So around 1941, a little before, maybe a little after, somewhere around that time, Japan attacked these places. Okay, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Thailand, Singapore, Malaya, China, Burma, and New Guinea. So those aren't in a row how they attacked them, but these places were all under attack. China's Southeast Asia was a main place that Japan wanted because Japan was low on oil, they were low on resources, and they figured that, hey, Southeast Asia is where it's at. They got everything we need to get in there, and we need to get their stuff. So with them doing all this invasion, the U.S. Come across the U.S. table, and the U.S. was like, this is wrong. So they started sanctioning Japan. So clearly, Japan didn't like that. They felt like they should be minding their own business. They shouldn't be getting in on what they're doing over on that side of the world, and they just didn't appreciate it. So they needed to get the USA out the way. So what did they do? They bombed Pearl Harbor because they needed the Pacific. You know what I'm saying? The Pacific was the area they needed in order to move in and out of getting to these places and the resources that they need. And that was the only thing that was in the way. So they bombed the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Okay, they bombed the fleet. Okay, and that's where the Pearl Harbor bombing came from, because they was upset about the sanctions and everything like that. So they bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. Okay, so during this time, World War II was just starting to jump off. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Hitler was just starting to attack people a couple years prior. And this was when World War II was just really, really, really getting real, real, real heavy. Okay, so through all this fighting going on and everything, the U.S. was trying to stop them from invading Southeast Asia. So they was probably fighting for a couple of years, but the U.S. got fed up. Okay, Harry Truman, the president of the U.S., got fed up, and he said, okay, he told them, okay, now he made a treaty or whatever it was, and he said, you guys have to surrender right now because we're tired of all this fighting. You're doing this, you're doing that. We're tired of this fighting, so you got to stop. Okay, so what did they do? They chose not to stop. So from 1941 to 1945, they was fighting. So when Japan refused to surrender, on August 6, 1945, they dropped the atomic bomb. Because Japan would not surrender. They would not give up. They were adamant about going to Southeast Asia and getting the oil, the rubber, things of that nature. They needed resources. The country didn't have no resources. So this is what this was all about. Okay, this is what this was all about. So after they dropped the bomb, August 6th, They dropped another bomb 3 days later on August 9th. So, Harry Truman was really trying to send a message to, stop this war. And he also did it because he said he did it to save lives. And it saved lives on Japan's side and American side from going to war and fighting each other. At the same time, when you drop those two bombs on Japan, I'm not saying it was right or wrong, you know what I'm saying, but you have to end the fight somewhere. It caused about 200,000 deaths. So, that was very tragic, very sad. A lot of people in Japan lost their lives. And not only did they lose their lives, they had long-term issues from those atomic bombs dropping, which is radiation, which a lot of people died from cancer. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people died from cancer, which was very sad. A lot of people died from cancer, and a lot of people died from other long-term illnesses. Now, that was 1945, so I don't know if it's still lingering on. I think it should be all better now over there and everything. And if you noticed, the U.S. has never had any more problems out of Japan. They surrendered after they dropped the second bomb, and they gave up because of the devastation that it caused to Japan. And somehow Japan recovered, and now they're back rolling again, So a lot of people try to say Harry Truman was wrong for doing what he did, and it wasn't moral and things like that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I just know a little bit of stuff about the details. I don't really know what was really going on in the inside. Like I just told you the story of what happened, but I'm pretty sure if I was there or if somebody was on the inside, there was much more incidences that happened of why, Harry Truman, the president of the U.S., dropped those bombs on Japan. I know it wasn't just because of, some corny stuff. I know it was some real stuff going on, and it had to happen. Now, for me, I would say, I don't know. I can't really say because I know that, now when you drop a bomb, you're killing some innocent people. See, one thing about war is that when you have a couple of people that are tyrants, that I don't think innocent people should have to suffer for the tyrant. So when you go bombing stuff, now you're killing kids, you're killing innocent people, things like that. That's the only problem I have. But sometimes, war is funny like that, and sometimes that stuff needs to happen. But that's an overview of why the U.S. dropped the atomic bombs on Japan. And salute to the U.S. and salute to Japan. Japan had a full recovery. I'm glad they had a full recovery. Their economy's back rolling. But, this is no different from people trying to go in and invade other people's territory because of what they got. This happens in Africa a lot. We're going to get into some stories about Italy. Mussolini. Mussolini did the same thing. He decided to join Hitler and go in, So, you had Italy, the U.S., and Japan. Italy, Germany, and Japan all teamed up to go to war in World War II. And they had a few other countries with them also. But we'll get into that in another story. So salute to y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope that was a good enough overview of the Japan and the U.S. issue. All right, salute to y'all. Hopefully catch you on the next video. Have a blessed day.